President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced bold measures to tackle harmful pesticides as well as food safety amid food safety concerns here in South Africa. In a national address last night, he called for the immediate registration of spaza shops as well as the closure of those that are linked to recent child deaths amid a rise in foodborne illnesses. For more on this, let's now speak to Anna Shevel, unPoision SA Network Coordinator. Anna, thank you so much for your time today. Welcome. So, unPoision SA, a non-profit civil society network working to protect the public health from harms of highly hazardous pesticides commonly used in the country. But what has been your biggest reaction or concern, rather, since this issue of foodborne illnesses spread throughout the country?
Thank you. I think I'd like to comment specifically on the President's address last night and then the subsequent activity. So it seems to me that the authorities are opportunistically, like I've said before, scapegoating foreign nationals, which is obviously to the great jubilation of our of local residents in townships who are suffering from unemployment, etc., and economic disparity. But we actually have regulation. So he's also come down quite hard, saying he's sending out all of these task teams, and they are going to there will be penalties, and they will, take it very seriously if they find any of these spaza shops or vendors that are not complying with regulations. However, I think that unPoision believes that the problem is actually higher upstream, and nothing in his address actually mentioned anything like this. So I'll just read to you from the regulations about the sale and distribution of restricted agricultural remedies or chemicals. Now, these are highly hazardous pesticides that are restricted. That's the classification. And it says, a person shall not supply a restricted agricultural remedy or permit a restricted agricultural remedy to be supplied to a person who is not authorized to use the agricultural remedy under these conditions. And the regulator of agrochemicals requires that anybody that sells and distributes highly hazardous pesticides, restricted pesticides, keeps very, very fastidious auditing. They have to, logbooks, and they have to track all of their sales. Why are we not looking at criminalizing up at the supply chain if we know exactly who is distributing restricted chemicals, and we know that it's only licensed people that can use it, which is pest control operators, and there are only about 900 in the country? Surely it would be very easy to see at source who is actually supplying chemical warfare to unsuspecting vendors to poison their communities. So that's what I have to say about that. And then also the Poison Information Helpline, that is an independent helpline, has run out of funding, and President Ramaphosa would do very well to fund the helpline via the Department of Health. Currently, there's another Poison Information Helpline that's actually run by somebody that works for the pesticide industry, and this is a gross conflict of interest when it comes to national health, because people that work for the pesticide industry obviously want to promote the sales of pesticide products. So I think that's very important. We really do commend the President for coming out about municipalities taking care of waste management as well as landfills. And also, again, like to commend the Minister of Basic Health for her move to restrict harmful products from school grounds. So I think there are some very good moves, and I think that the intentions are very good. But Mr. Ramaphosa, your task team needs to be made up of independent people, not industry people. And we want to see criminalization happening at the source, not down at the lowest people that are the most vulnerable victims, who are the easiest scapegoats. We've got regulations in place. Let's use them.
And, that's exactly what I was going to ask you next, because I wanted to say I found it interesting, the fact that the President said that spaza shops suspected to have been selling those poison foods must close with immediate effect. Now, I was speaking to a representative of informal traders earlier on, and she says that for the whole year, they've never seen a single inspector on their premises to come and check for any of these compliance issues. And so the bulk of the issue is this is where actually the bulk of the issue actually emanates from, the fact that these inspectors are not coming by and doing their job. So on a wider scope then, is it even possible to inspect as well as test for these poisonous and hazardous materials across the entire food supply chain in just 21 days? And with the fact that there has not been a direct link also to a specific shop, it's going to be quite a difficult task for the task team.
I'm going to say that if they can't track their sales and distribution, which is a significantly smaller amount of outlets, if they can't track what comes through customs, then how are they going to monitor thousands of spaza shops, which are the lifeblood of the informal economy? How are they going to do that? I think he's got it a little bit wrong. We need intensive education campaigns in the townships and in the informal sector. We need education, not criminalization. And we need the criminalization higher up the supply chain at the source. And this requires government to actually be strong in the face of industry and other commercial interests. And just on that note, tuberphos is banned in the EU. Now, tuberphos, I understand that our farmers will be very upset with a ban, but why are EU farmers farming successfully without tuberphos? And how is the EU managing to eat potatoes and citrus and all of the things that we're using tuberphos on to produce that has serious long-term exposure risks? Surely why are we putting industry profit before protecting the people and blaming it on spaza shop and especially illegal or foreign nationals?
And then maybe, Anna, let's look at solutions then. What should then be the order of address that government actually needs should they want this done thoroughly?
Well, I would say that in Act 36, they audit the sales and distribution data. They can see exactly who's buying it. They can see exactly where it's being sold. They should be able to find discrepancies for who's using it. Also, there used to be an interdepartmental committee on prevention of poison to man, which used to oversee the registration, etc., of pesticides, and that disbanded when industry got involved. We need that to come back. I do agree that perhaps some of the spaza shops that were linked should be closed, but in a helpful way to help them decontaminate, possibly, so that they can start trading again. But it's really, I think the best money will be spent higher up the supply chain and criminalizing what happens at the source rather than trying to now go out and police the informal sector and criminalize the people that keep the informal sector, running.
So in other words, they really should be coming after organizations such as yourselves to try and form some sort of collaboration so that you really do get down to the bottom of this issue. Anna, thank you so much for your input this afternoon. Ms. Anna Shevel of unPoision South Africa.